We're now in week 6 of our course, Missiology and Contextualization. This week, there's not nearly as much reading from our big textbook as we've had in previous weeks. So I hope you'll all take time to really delve into the material in the general discussion area. In particular, that about half-hour long video segment on pastoral involvement, cracking the code for pastoral involvement in world evangelism. I think you'll find that helpful and useful, so I hope you'll kind of consider that almost as one of the required reading elements this week. There's also the requirement for you to do a leadership thing in terms of recruiting one-on-one somebody to get involved or deeper involved in the task of world evangelism. This can be talking to somebody about a variety of things. It can be talking to someone who's been hesitant to get involved in any way, including giving in the cause of world evangelism. Sit down and have a kind of a low-key one-on-one conversation about why your local church feels it's necessary that believers get involved in ends of the earth evangelism in some way, as well as their involvement locally. That this whole idea that it's not a either or, either I get involved in world evangelism in some way, or I get involved in local evangelism. No, it's Christ's call is that of a both and. He didn't allow an either or kind of idea when he began with Abraham, or when he reiterated that call in the person of Jesus Christ. God's call is for all of his people to be involved in his desire that all nations come to know him. That's why for the Church of the Nazarene, our mission statement is that of making Christ-like disciples in the nations. It's not the call is not to make Christ-like disciples in your neighborhood. It's make Christ-like disciples in the nations, which includes your neighborhood and elsewhere. So it could be a one-on-one conversation with somebody like that, or maybe there's somebody who's been involved in at least in terms of passion, the cause of world evangelism, but maybe to get them involved in doing something locally, whether that's a bulletin board or some kind of a publicity involvement of maybe it's a young person who's got some video skills of doing things for to advertise or to publicize the church's involvement on a regular basis through perhaps PowerPoint or short video presentations or something like that. Maybe maybe you think somebody needs some just kind of hands-on stuff, and they need some cross-cultural experience. So getting involved in a short-term missions trip that either your district or a nearby local church is doing, or some event such as the one that the Southern Nazarene has been doing for years over the New Year's holiday, or some of the things that Point Loma's gotten involved in, or Trevecca or Olivet or one of the other schools, and maybe they need adult involvement, or maybe they invite high school involvement. So a one-on-one conversation with somebody. Now, this has through the years, through the times that I've used this, it's made some folks very uncomfortable. They feel like they're confronting somebody or begging. No, this is what good leaders do. Good leaders sit down one-on-one with people and say, hey, have you thought about? I think this would be a great opportunity for you, or I'd sure like for you to step outside your comfort zone briefly and do this, or have you thought about the fact that God wants us to be involved in whatever his heart is? So this is what good leaders do, this not only in terms of world evangelism, but good leaders do a lot of one-on-one recruiting. Have you thought about heading up this prayer ministry? Have you thought about teaching this Sunday school class? Have you thought about becoming involved in our nursery? Have you? Good leaders do that all the time. It's nice to have announcements from the pulpit. It's nice to be able to talk to Sunday school classes and encourage folks, but there's nothing like a one-on-one involvement where you sit down face to face with somebody, look them in the eyes and say, would you pray about this? Maybe God's would like to talk to you. Would you consider praying about this? So this is a practice of something that a good leader will do. Well, I hope you'll have fun with this and with this assignment, as well as the reading and the feedback on that, the delving into the stuff in the general discussion area, perhaps more deeply than you have up till this week, and then of course the end of the week wrap up, in which you kind of think, okay, what's been the most important thing for me this week? Where has whereas as God kind of been speaking to me and my emotions. Final week, next week coming up, we'll take a look at kind of a case study, what one particular church has done in terms of trying to fulfill this call to world evangelism, what one particular denomination has done, I should say, one particular association of churches, and in this case, the Church of the Nazarene. Well, week 6, we're coming down towards the end. It's time to finish strong.